make the ground shake.
What is up, everybody? Savage Brennan here, bringing you a TDM on Clock Tower, and today I wanted to talk to you about what we need from a Gears of War 1 Remastered Edition as a community, just as a whole. So every commentary that I've heard, every tweet that I've seen, every post that I've read has said things that we need in the community from the Gears of War Remastered, but they haven't looked at it from a community standpoint. They've been looking at it from their own standpoint, whether that be a professional standpoint, a veteran standpoint, a newcomer standpoint. And I just wanted to take the time to make a commentary that talked about what we need as a whole to grow as a community that will make the most people happy. So here are the three things as a community that we need from the Gears of War 1 remake. Number one, we needed to play a lot like Gears of War 3. Number two, we needed to stay true to the Gears of War 1 style, theme, and just overall feel. And number three, we need to make sure that it's its own game and that it works on day one. Now, to get back to the first point, because I can already see it being a pretty big issue from a lot of people, is that I want it to play like Gears of War 3. Now, I don't just think that this is what I want, I think this is what we need as a community, and here's why. Gears of War 3 perfected the Gears of War formula. They tried to change it again, they tried to improve it again for Judgment, and it didn't work. So if anything, we need to harken back to Gears of War's heyday, which was not Gears of War 1, was not Gears of War 2, it was Gears of War 3. The people you hear complaining about Gears of War 3 are the same people that complained about Gears of War 2 when it came out. They're the people that have been around since Gears of War 1 and think that Gears of War 1 is the only way that Gears of War can be done, which is not true at all. Gears of War was perfected in Gears of War 3. Now, that does not mean that Gears of War 3 was perfect. It means that the formula was perfect. The way that they went about things was perfect. I've already talked a lot about the movement in Gears of War in a couple of my other commentaries, especially commentaries about Judgment and commentaries about what we need out of the next Gears of War. So I'm not going to get totally into it. Here's a few links if you want to hear a little more about the movement system in Gears of War. But basically what we need is Gears of War 3, but cleaner. Now, by cleaner, I mean it needs to run on dedicated servers, always. Not just some of the time, not just for some of the game types, but always. Number two, we need to keep an eye on what type of game types we include. This means that if you include every game type that's ever been in a Gears of War game, you're not going to have the population to fill them, and it's going to overall hurt the game. You won't have as many people playing.
Boom,
which is
baby!
an amazing game they introduced in Gears of War Judgment. And you'll have more people playing Team Deathmatch, which came around in Gears of War 3. And they did it the right way in Gears of War 3. That's the thing that people seem to overlook, that Gears of War 3 did it right. They did it right the first time. There were things to improve, but overall, it was the best game of the Gears of War franchise. So in closing with point number one, they need to keep it simple, but keep it true to the Gears of War 3 formula. They need to have the same type of movement, maybe not the same movement. They need to have the same type of cover system, maybe not the same cover system. There are a lot of things that were different in Gears of War 1, but the thing was they were okay for the time. It is not 2006 anymore. Now it's 2015, probably 2016 before we get this game. So we need it to be updated to 2016 standards. Now moving on to point number two. We need Gears of War Remastered Edition to feel the same as Gears of War 1. Now I have a bit of a confession to make. I've never fully finished Gears of War 1, but I know enough about it and I've played enough of it to tell you about why it's different from the other Gears of Wars. Number one, it's not quite as polished, but that's just because it's an older game, it's to be expected. But it's not polished in the right way. The same way that you don't expect Dark Souls to be polished, if that makes sense. It was gritty, it was gory, and it was great. Thing is, that changed a little bit as the Gears of War games moved on. They're still gory, but they're not quite as gritty as they were. I mean, look at the characters. In Gears of War 3, it's a little brighter because we're in the overworld most of the time, whereas in Gears of War 1 and 2, if we're outside, it's raining, storming, or at least that's what it felt like. And for most of Gears of War 2, we were underground fighting the Locusts in their lair. I felt like I was outnumbered at all times. I didn't get that feeling again until I was in Gears of War Judgment, at least in terms of being outnumbered by Locusts. There was a Lambent in Gears of War 3, but that seemed to take its own kind of spin to the game. So to stay true to Gears of War 1, we need to keep it gritty, we need to keep it gory, and we need to keep it dark. Now that doesn't mean that it can't look nice, it just means that it can't be sunny all the time. It can't have this feel that, the world is not about to end. The Locusts aren't the enemy. This is the end. It's almost like Gears of War 3 is its own game in that aspect of the story, just because the enemy changed. It's important to keep in mind that we're fighting the Locusts. We don't like the Locusts. The Locusts don't like us. And we need to stay true to that in Gears of War 1. We didn't know who the Locusts were. We didn't care. We just wanted them dead. We wanted them off our planet. They were killing us. We didn't know why, and we wanted them gone. And we were going to fight for our survival. That's what I want from Gears of War 1 Remake. I don't want to fight the Lambent who are fighting the Locusts and sympathize with the Locusts. I want to blow Locust's face off and feel great about it. I want to look them in the eye and say, this is for all those people you killed on E-Day. That's the feeling we need from the Gears of War 1 Remastered Edition. Like, it's us versus them. And point number 3 is pretty simple. Make sure it works. Don't give us a game that doesn't work. Don't give us a game that semi-works. Give us a game that works day one, right out the box. I don't want a game that I have to sit around and hope that works, like the Master Chief Collection, or that it's broken because you rushed it like Unity. If you don't have it out in 2016, I don't care. I've waited a long time. I can wait longer. Anyway, guys, these have been my 3 major things that we need in the next Gears of War. If you agree, go ahead and leave a like. If you don't agree, tell me why in the comments. What do you think that we need from Gears of War Remastered Edition? I've been Savage Bernie, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace. Hey, whoa, you stuck around to the outro. Awesome. If you want, you can go ahead and check out the next video. It's all about how we find a troll in Gears of War and deal with it accordingly. Also, you can check out the links on the right side. You can join the Legion on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. That way we can grow in numbers and slowly take over the Gears of War world. Just kidding. I mean, we don't really want to take anything over. We just want to have a good time. Anyway, check it out. I'm sure you'll find something you like.